everybody. This is my daughter, Kiley.
Hello.
She is living with me this summer. I think I've talked to a lot of you about that. She is the only child of Ross and Corey. All our hopes and dreams. She hears that all since she was little. It's hard being an only child because, you know, nobody else to take the slack.
Nope. It's all on me.
But we were talking a couple months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe even longer than that ago, about how people have had their husbands on the podcast answering a set of funny questions or interesting questions about knitting to see if the husbands could answer. And both Kiley and my husband are introverts, which is shocking, right? That I could have birthed an introvert. But she said that she would be willing to come on and answer the questions, and my husband probably never will.
No.
So he might if over time, because
Probably not.
yeah, I don't know. And I don't know that he could answer some of these as well. I think you will answer a lot more of them because you've been a knitting child your entire life.
Yeah.
Because I have been knitting your entire life. So she's been to yarn stores. She's been to knitting group, to knitting lunch. You call the ladies in my knitting group your knitting moms. Yeah.
I spent Saturday afternoons at Stephen B's as a child.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been everywhere.
Been around it.
I've
So
been
if
asked
we
for-
talk about yarns and things, she has a little bit more knowledge. So we're just going to insert this here today and see how it goes. Okay? So, favorite thing I've knit for you?
Oh gosh. Well, I have probably I'm not kidding, 60 pairs of socks right now currently that I wear throughout the winter. So as far as wearability goes, I wear those exclusively.
Yeah,
You
do.
Hand knit socks.
They come through the wash.
So that's probably the ones that I wear the most. As far as my favorite, you've knit me a couple of really fun stuffy toys, and I have them on my headboard. And I have a giraffe and a little octopus.
That just came up in my time hop the other day that I was up in your bedroom after you went to college and they were all sitting on the bed and I took a picture of them. So I'll try to put the picture of all the stuffies I knit for her from the time she was little.
Yeah. And I have a turtle. And they're all really cute and really fun. And I remember finding them and being like, knit this for me, Mom. And my mom was like, I don't knit toys. I'm not going to do that. And I was like...
I did say that for a long time.
Yeah, and then I was like, come on, knit this for me. And then she knit them. And I know that they're kind of putsy and a lot of work. So I look at them all the time and they're very special. So that's probably my real answer.
The favorite thing I've ever knit.
She went through a phase where she was knitting food. So she knit these little cupcakes, and they were a big deal for a while. And then she knit a whole wedding cake. And I don't know if she's ever...
I've got pictures of that
Yeah.
too. That's funny.
She knit a 3-tiered white wedding cake with floral applique, red floral. And I want it out at my wedding. It's absolutely hilarious. It has absolutely no practical value. It adds nothing. I mean, frankly, it's really just, and you can't set it out. You couldn't even, you have the beautiful
Well,
white.
it's at Stephen B's right now. He has it in his shop up high on the shelf. But the reason that there was a birthday cake was because I knit for you the horse head blanket.
Oh, yes,
And it's
sure.
baby blue with a horse's head in the middle.
And it's like a barn.
And it had a ring of roses around the horse's
Yes,
head.
I remember this.
And you didn't like the
roses.
roses. I made
I remember
all
this
the
now.
roses with all of the stems and the leaves, and you didn't like the roses, and you're like, Mom, let's not put those on. And I was like, what?
I knit all these roses.
Right. And so then when I saw this birthday cake that you could knit, and it's super tall.
Oh, yeah, it's big.
And there were flowers around it. I thought, I could knit that for a window decoration for the local yarn store. And so I knit it out of that Sirdar snowflake yarn. It was kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
And I just covered
Not quite fun fur, but
Yeah. I
in
covered
that family.
round cardboard boxes. And then
Like hat
they
boxes.
never used it.
No.
They never used it.
'cause-
So we brought it out for a couple of
would you
birthdays
use
for
it for?
knitter. Knitters, and now it's at Stephen B.
Yeah.
But I have
That's where it belongs.
I have the cupcakes right down here in the cabinet, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I'm going to grab them. We'll pause.
So we have cupcakes. They have little cut up plastic Dixie cups in the bottom, so they've got some like stability, and then the top is just stuffing. And I think it was at this point in my life when my mom started producing these that I was like, wow, compulsive. Like, we've run out of garments to knit, and now we're gonna knit stuff that you could buy and use.
There's a story.
Of course. Well, of course it's a
You
story.
were in elementary school when we moved back here, 3rd or 4th grade, I don't remember. And the teacher would not allow people to bring homemade baked treats to school anymore. You couldn't make cookies or cupcakes or cake or whatever and bring it in. You had to buy a store-bought suckers or something that came in a bag. That was the deal. And then some of the teachers in the school didn't want to have any kind of treats because then it was sugar and some kids couldn't participate and whatever. So I knit cupcakes for one of your teachers because you would get to hold the cupcake for the day, and the kids would sing happy birthday to you, and you would have the cupcake all day. And then
Makes more sense now.
and
Context.
Then I ended up making a few extras. So I offered several of the teachers cupcakes that, I made some that were blue and some were pink. Yeah. Back then I wasn't as gender savvy. So I did a bunch of, boy and girl cupcakes. And then we also used them for a state fair theme food on a stick item. So there was a contest for the Minnesota Knitters Guild State Fair window where we knit stuff to put on a stick, because everything at the state fair you eat on a stick.
Okay, yes, I
and
understand.
so then we were
but not a
knitting
cupcake
things,
ever.
right? But we stuck. That's why this one has a hole in the bottom. We stuck a stick up the bottom of this. I had a brownie on a stick, and people made a corn on the cob on the stick, like we did. It was
Yep.
You have a lot of extra time to knit this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you go to a fiber festival with me?
Yes, and I have.
Yes.
Many.
Yes. These are questions that were on that list.
Yeah.
So if I was asking Dad,
No.
Yeah.
And no.
Yeah. No. But you've been to Rhinebeck.
And Rhinebeck.
You've been to Maryland Sheep and Wool when you were younger, because we lived on the East Coast.
Yes.
You've been to Stillwater for the Shepherd's Harvest.
Yeah. And I love being with the animals, hanging out in the barns, especially when I was little. I love watching the sheepdog races, and all of that, and just being around and eating the great food and hanging out.
Does it bother you when I take you to a local yarn store?
Not if you let me sit in the car.
Yeah, the introvert doesn't like to go in and talk to the people in the
Well,
store.
going somewhere with my mom is like, it's a lot. We go in, hi, she knows everybody, and then if I'm with her, it's like, oh, have you heard an update on my daughter's life? Here it is. And then I get asked questions, and that's just kind of a lot for me. So if it was just like my mom and I could go in and help her pick yarn, I wouldn't mind as much. And not that that's not fun.
And I talk to everybody.
But it's just a lot for me as an introvert. So I find it overwhelming at times, but I go to yarn stores all the time.
And you can be outgoing introvert.
Absolutely.
You can be social.
Yeah.
You're a public speaker.
For sure.
You can do that.
Yes.
So what is the coolest thing you've learned from my knitting addiction?
I guess my answer would be that there is like such a strong community of knitters, and I would have never known the community that exists and the support that exists for crafting and for knitting if my mom weren't a knitter. And the community has multiple times in my life when we've gone through hard times, like wrapped us up and helped us. And knitting has always been there for my mom. And so I guess I would say the community around knitting is probably the biggest thing that I've learned. When people ask like what my mom does, I'm always like, well, she's a knitwear designer and she has a podcast and she's an author, published author, and she teaches. And they're kind of like, okay. And I'm like, the best thing I can compare it to is like barbecue pitmasters. or like state fair quilters. Like that's that big of a subculture. It's kind of like an underground thing, and like you don't know that your neighbor does it until you like walk in their house and you're like, wow, okay, you barbecue. And then you realize the addiction. So
how about your Click for Babies campaign?
Oh, absolutely. That's another great one.
Because the people that watch wouldn't have, I mean, a lot of people wouldn't. That was a number of years ago.
Yeah.
So you would
so
have been
when I was a senior in high school, I had a capstone project, and everyone needed to do kind of a large project before they graduated in an area of interest for them. And mine was in child development studies. And so I had a knitting-driven fundraiser through the nonprofit Click for Babies. And so I collected purple infant baby hats to raise awareness for shaken baby syndrome and the period of purple crying. And I made a little brochure that was given out. My cousin at the time worked at a local
agency that helped teen moms.
Yes.
Pregnant moms.
I don't remember what it was called, but she was my connection to get the hats to people in the community.
She was a social worker there.
Yes.
And they did education on the period of purple crying, which is a time in an infant's life where no amount of soothing can help to calm
the baby. And that is when shaken baby syndrome happens the most.
Right.
And so if you know anyone who has a baby, you should tell them about it. She can put information in the show notes about the period of purple crying. But the purple hat is a reminder to the parents that if the baby's fed, it's been changed, and you've taken care of all of its needs, it might just need to cry. And you, even though it sounds terrible and goes against your parenting instincts, you should lay it down in a comfortable place, a safe place, and let it cry itself out. If you've met all of its needs, and shaking it and rocking it might not be the best thing for it, especially if you're not in a great place, which I think a lot of parents who are low on sleep are always not in the best place. And so I did a fundraiser, and I collected... Well, there were a couple of people who knit 200.
Always garbage day, and the garbage truck just is out there, so that's why we both have to go like this.
We both have
Mondays when I podcast.
But I had people send me boxes where they had knit 60 hats, and it was really inspiring because I was like, wow, I set a goal, and I was like, if I can get like 20, that would be really great. You know, if like my mom's knitting group could pitch in and everyone could make 20, and purple baby hats that I hope people have held on to, and I think every baby should have a hand knitted hat, frankly. So
yeah,
it was
a cool project.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It really went. Are you ever going to learn to knit?
I do know how to knit. I learned when I was how old was I when I learned?
Probably kindergarten, because you wanted to knit a hat for your first grade teacher. Oh, because I taught knitting for kids at your school. Yeah. And you helped. You would help sit next to kids and do the rhyme.
Yep.
So
I learned. I still know how. I could pick up knitting right now, and I've gone through like spurts in my life where I'm like, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, like here I go, and my mom buy me some yarn, and I'll be like, I don't sit very well, and when I do sit, I like sit and do nothing. And so never been a huge interest for me, but huge respect for fiber art in general.
Yeah. Okay, what do you think about me podcasting?
I'm super happy she's podcasting. We've been talking about podcasting for years. She was an I've listened to a lot of audio podcasts, and when she was listening to them years back, I was riding in the car, she's taking me to soccer or to see my horse or whatever, and like we listened to a ton of them, and I was always like, Mom, you have to do this, like you're great, I love you, and I would listen to your podcast. I know that doesn't mean much because I'm your daughter, but I totally want you to do it. And so when I went off to college and she was like, I'm gonna do a podcast, I was like, finally, like yes, you absolutely should. You have so much to share, and so I was really excited, and I'm her biggest fan.
Oh. Well, you have to love your mom the best, and you have to love your child the best, right?
Of course.
Everybody should. Okay, do you know the difference in the weights of yarn?
You mean like fingering, lace weight, worsted, DKs?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, she does.
Yeah.
What is my favorite yarn company or indie dyer?
Malabrigo. Indie dyer, Sun Valley.
Yeah.
That's up there. She knits a lot with Sun Valley.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate because I go to her retreat.
Yeah.
Every year. And Leadingman Fiber Arts.
Leadingman Fiber Arts, yeah. So I would say both those are all up there. But there's new kinds of yarn coming in the house all the time.
Suburban Stitcher is.
I mean, I can't keep up with that. So it's. But I would say those, like when we go to a store and they have Malabrigo, that's where we're checking out. We're looking at the colorways.
Yeah. Saturated color.
Yeah.
At not a high price point. Okay, how much does an average skein of yarn cost?
Well, that's a loaded question. That completely depends. I mean, you can go to Michael's and get a skein of yarn for $1, or you could go to your local knitting store and probably spend up to $20 on a really nice skein of yarn.
Yeah.
Hand spun is going to be more expensive. Dyed is going to be more expensive. If you go on Etsy, I'm sure you can find a skein for $40. It just completely depends. Also, how big the skein is, how much you can make. Yeah. So that's
absolutely. But
that's a trick question.
That would be funny for Dad to answer because
he would be like $300 per skein.
Yeah.
Every one.
Well, that's because the bills that come in can be that much.
Yeah.
Okay. If I ask you to buy yarn for me as a gift, what would you do?
I've had some really good luck going on Etsy in the past and finding like a very small dyer with a small dye lot and finding a crazy fun colorway that I've never seen anything like. Since yarn is all over our house and I go to knitting stores fairly frequently, I can tell what is a dime a dozen and what is like, wow, this is something that she's probably never seen before. So that's probably my best bet. I also think online shopping is easiest.
Right. And if I asked Dad to buy me a skein of yarn as a gift, what would you do? You would buy it.
Yeah, I would buy it.
Because he would not,
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He's not a shopper in general, but yeah, no, I would buy it. He has gotten you like gift cards to local yarn stores and stuff like that, which is nice, but I think for her, it's way more exciting to open a fun hand-spun, variegated single skein, something like that, or a set of mini skeins, something fun like that. That's probably what I would look for.
Okay, how about some abbreviations?
Oh, yeah, there are a lot.
Okay. FO.
Finished object.
UFO.
Unfinished object.
HO. Just kind of not used by everyone. Because it's called a hoe. If I'm making a sock, it's called a hoe because I have one of them,
but not the other.
That's half.
Yeah, you have a half finished object.
Yep. Okay. A whip.
Work in progress.
BFL. It's probably one of the hardest ones on the list.
I want to think.
It's a kind of yarn. If that helps.
That helps. That narrows down because we were on objects, so that's where I was going first.
Blue-faced Lester. I know.
I was thinking like biggest, fattest line. That was my guess. There you go.
MCN. So most yarn that people buy is merino.
Merino.
So MCN.
Merino, cashmere, nylon.
Yeah. Ooh, pretty good, Kylie. LYS.
I've definitely seen that.
Yeah. Lakeside Yarn is my LYS.
Local yarn store.
Yes. Okay. So here are some event terms. VKL.
Virtual Knit Night.
Oh, close. That's VKN.
Oh.
So VKL is an event held 4 times a year around the country and sponsored by...
yeah. Cody.
Code, did you decide you want to come be with us? Vogue.
Vogue Knitting Live.
Yes. EYF. It's what I would like to go to that I talked to you about when you were in London.
Yeah, it's it's over in Ireland or Scotland.
Scotland. You went up to the city.
EYL?
No, EYF.
Yarn Festival. So it's
Edinburgh.
Yarn Festival. Yep, something like that.
So some terms. SSK.
Slip, slip, knit.
Tink.
No idea. Never heard that.
Tink is knit backwards. So it's when you're backwards knitting.
Oh.
You're ripping it out.
Okay.
I had to tink my knitting.
Yeah. Okay.
Frog.
Leaping over a stitch.
No, when I have to ribbit out. You're frogging your project.
Yeah, I've been part of many frogs then.
If you could have me make you anything, what would it be? Anything? Well, socks.
Yeah, I don't know. You keep me in good supply. Like, and if I want something, I ask for it, and she knits it for me. I'm an only child, and my dad doesn't wear a ton of knitwear, and so it's pretty easy to find. I've asked for a lot of dresses,
road dresses.
Yeah, cowls. I wear a lot of cowls and scarves, hats, mittens.
Yeah.
A lot of times for Christmas, she just kind of keeps me in supply of things I didn't know I wanted, but that I now have.
Am I a product or a process knitter?
Oh, product. Oh my God, yes. It's all about the product.
Not about the process.
No.
I just want to get it done.
Yeah.
Do you think I need more stash?
No. We don't have space for more stash. Like, it's, like, we can't. We are at maximum capacity. Like, I'm not kidding. There is yarn everywhere.
There is.
It's, yeah.
How do fiber crafts help me?
Oh, a million ways. I mean, I think they get you excited. I think they give you something to work for. I think they give you something to do when you're hanging out. They've given you a huge community of friends. That's probably the biggest one. It's just like meeting people.
Absolutely.
Going on yarn crawls and going to fiber festivals all over the country, traveling. I mean, and now it's your career. So like, how do you value that?
If I died, what would you do with my stash?
Oh, I would probably, he's under the table now, licking my legs. Your stash, I would probably give to a lot of your friends. I'd probably rehome almost all of it. There would be some pieces that I would keep because some of like the things in our house are full of yarn or more decorative. We have a lot of like glass vases and there's like a bird cage up there that's full of yarn and like maybe I'd put that in my house. I know what I'd do with all of your FOs though. Those would be at your funeral and everyone would wear one because that's what she wants and I know that. So everybody would wear a finished object. And I would probably give a lot of them to friends. And then she has a lot of really old stuff that I might even give to charity. Because, yeah.
Does it embarrass you when I knit in public?
No. It's so normal. It is so normal in my life. She knits everywhere, all the time, 100% of the time. And so I don't even notice. Like, if she's not knitting, I'll be like, you gonna knit? She knits at restaurants. And so people talk to her all the time about knitting. It's just, like, a completely normal part of my life. I don't know what to compare it to. I guess, like, some people read, maybe, would be the thing. Like, some people bring a book with them everywhere. But, I mean, it's probably closer to, like, someone who carries a water bottle and is just, like, drinking water all the time. Like, it's that frequent.
Yeah.
Like, 3 stitches and put it in the bag, worth it.
Does anyone say anything about it behind my back?
Behind your back? No. I'd yell at them. I'd be like, that is her career. Respect my mother.
Like, none of your friends. Well, yeah, that would have been from, yeah. What do I knit the most of?
Sweaters. Well, okay, that's hard. Complete the most of or start the most of?
I have a lot of FOs. Okay. Now, like I said, these were for like a significant other, so this is, I think you will know these, but how many subscribers do you think I have on YouTube?
Oh, you just told me. The number keeps going up.
I'm closing in on 2,500, roughly. I mean, we don't talk about it that much, but it would be interesting for Dad to answer, because Dad's not on Facebook, he's not on Instagram, he's not on YouTube. He's an IT guy that is completely unconnected to the world. Yeah. And so it would be funny if he would know what numbers he might come up with.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know you have a lot of followers because a lot of people, she'll post pictures of me, and then a lot of those people now follow me, and they'll comment on my stuff, and I'll be like, I don't know who you are, but you're a knitter, so enjoy.
Have you ever watched my podcast?
Yes. Yeah. My boyfriend and I have actually watched it together.
Do you have a favorite podcast that I watch, or can you name one podcast that I watch?
Fat Squirrel Speaks.
Yeah.
Top level, awesome, all the time. And probably Amber's podcast.
Yarn Hoarder.
Yeah, Yarn Hoarder. But Amber and my mom also FaceTime all the time, so sometimes I feel like they're both just podcasting like at each other in the house. Because they'll be on the phone all the time, and I'll come home and be like, hey, Amber. So she's more of a presence in our home as well. So that's probably why I picked her.
If I knit you a sweater that was hideous, would you wear it?
No.
Yeah.
I would tell her. Yeah. I'm very honest. I'm very opinionated.
Yep. Kind of like her mom.
Yeah. No, I would definitely tell her. I'd be like, and when she knits something that's bad, I'm like, that's bad. And she'll finish it and hold it up, and I'll be like,
my stash is worth?
$10,000? $15,000?
I have no idea.
I mean, it's got to be up
When
there.
we were writing the book, Megan and I counted our sweaters quantities of yarn, not of sweaters completed, of yarn, and it was in the above 50.
Yeah,
So
60 or 70, I think.
Yeah, at that time. Because I don't collect a lot of single skeins. Like, these are my single skeins, and that's about all I have of single skeins. What I buy almost always is a sweater's quantity of yarn. I buy 4, 5, 6 skeins of something, and that's how it's housed all together in separate boxes. And
well, and I feel like the way your stash works is your stash grows, but frankly you buy yarn and you knit with it pretty quickly, and so your stash is kind of stagnant and doesn't grow that quickly because things don't become part of your stash, they go on your needles. So the stash, I feel like, is something that's been growing for years and years and years, and then you purge you'll go through and be like, I won't knit with this anymore, or this is old, whatever.
I'll give it away, or
so maybe
or sell it or put it on.
Maybe I'm looking around the house behind if you're seeing me do that, because there's like yarn over there in a 3-tiered basket, and there's yarn in some glass jars, and yarn in a big vase, and
from here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 a sweater's quantity, 6 skeins, and a sweater's quantity just on the dining room table I slid over. And then behind us there are 2 jars that you can see, and then the hat on the, and then the one stuff that's up there.
There's also another shelf up there. So you've got the 2 shelves, and shelf 3.
It's not too full up there, but so I have quite a bit. So as we close today, why don't you tell the people what you're doing this summer? Like, share your summer job and then where you're going this fall.
Yeah, so I graduated from Grinnell College with 2 majors in sociology and Spanish and a minor in European studies. And for my summer job, I am working at a local sailing school on Lake Minnetonka for anyone who's local. And I'm working with 7 to 9-year-olds, and I am an assistant director, head coach of the sailing school, teaching. Mainly my job focuses on teaching high school age students how to teach younger kids how to sail. I do not sail. I've never been sailing, but I know kids, and I have years of experience working at camps and working with children, and so that is where my expertise lies. And so that's what I'm doing this summer.
But it's been a challenge.
Yeah. It's been hard. Arguably, 7-year-olds shouldn't sail a boat. Especially on Lake Minnetonka. Lake Minnetonka is a really big lake, and if you know anything about lakes, then you know that water traffic makes waves and lots of wind, and if you know anything about sailing, you know that there's probably, one good day a week to actually sail a boat with wind direction and speed. So it's been really tricky dealing with those factors. Also coming in as like an outsider, I never attended this camp or went to this camp, so it was a lot of like building trust with the staff. And so it's been a challenge, but a good challenge. I mean, I'm enjoying it. The kids are cute, and I love working with them, and it's fun to watch them try to sail even when they fail. It's hard. Sailing is hard.
You can't see the wind.
Yeah, sailing is hard, and so it's like, if you go to soccer camp, you can, like, anybody can kick a ball. If you go to sailing camp, not everybody can sail a boat. Like, and there are some kids that will never get it, and like they come for 5 days. Whether or not they get it. And their parents are most of them are members of the yacht club, and so they're like, of course my child will sail. And I'm like, Johnny might be better at things on land, considering he doesn't swim. So there's, classic parent, if you work with kids, you understand the problems that are parents. But that's what I'm doing this summer, and then in just under a month, I am headed just up the road to St. Paul, Minnesota, where I have an apartment on Grand Avenue. And I am starting law school at Mitchell Hamlin, which is a newly combined law school, private school, small private school. And I'm really excited about that. And I'm in their fellows program, so that should be really exciting. And
hopefully we move you in August 1st.
Yeah.
We start packing her up. She won't be here anymore. She'll head over there, and she'll have a couple weeks to get moved in and settled.
Before classes begin.
Before orientation. So, How has it been being home?
Honestly, I have not been home that much. I am gone this summer constantly. I've not unpacked my cosmetic bag in 2 months because I am just gone. I traveled. I'm also a high school speech coach, so I traveled with my speech kids. And then we've gone to the lake. I've gone to my boyfriend's cabin in Wisconsin. We've gone to Sioux Falls to see her family twice. We have 3 weddings.
Yeah, we have another one this weekend.
I was just up north last weekend visiting my old camp. So it's been fine because I haven't been here that much. Not that if I were here a lot, it would be bad. But, I mean, it is an adjustment. I've been living alone for 4 years and now coming back home. But my mom and I get along pretty well, and I'm a responsible kid. So it hasn't been, I don't think she worries about me too much.
No. I just try to parent sometimes. And she's 22, so she can make her own decisions.
Yeah.
So we had to have,
we have those
about
talks.
that.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
there. I think we answered all the questions.
Yeah, I think I killed it.
Yeah, because Dad would have. It would have just been a lot of quiet time with him thinking, going, I don't know.
Well, he'd want to get the questions right. He'd really think, but he wouldn't know them, and then he'd be frustrated.
That might be true. Yeah.
I wanted to know the questions. I wanted to get them right.
Yeah, kind of putting you on the spot when you have a little list of questions here. Well, so we're going to say goodbye, and we'll talk to you guys in a minute.
Bye.
Bye.